winner, Neil Robertson. He's the eagle-eyed Barry Hawkins. And now is the reigning UK champion, the world #1, blink and you'll miss him, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, Barry's up for it. Ronnie, we're not sure if he's up for it yet, but he will be when he breaks off and we get this match underway. It is the quarter-final of the Masters. It's the first one of this year. So let's hand to our commentary team of Neil Folds and Phil Studd.
All the best, Ronnie.
The Palace is alive with anticipation. We're down to the last 8 here at the Masters. Ronnie O'Sullivan, the most decorated player in history, with a record 7 Masters titles, continuing his bid to make it. Number 8, standing in his way, Barry Hawkins, who's arguably playing the snooker of his life right now. European Masters champion this season. And he certainly did look up for it, doesn't he? Walking out, getting the crowd going, looking very relaxed. Can he
The first frame.
transfer that apparent confidence into results this afternoon? O'Sullivan getting us underway. The Paul Hunter Trophy, always in the background, the prize for the winner on Sunday. Hawkins certainly looked relaxed coming out, Neil, but the head-to-head is pretty damning in O'Sullivan's favour, isn't it? 19 previous meetings, 17 wins for the Rocket.
Absolutely. A world final. Reason for optimism, and that is that he beat O'Sullivan at the Crucible once, and that, of course, will always take some doing. And I think we know with Barry Hawkins that everyone is saying the same thing. You know, he's not weak in any department. He'll play his game. He'll play good safety. He'll score well. His long game will be good, but will any of it be good enough? And that really is the question. There's always a chance that those levels of excellence will not be quite enough. And will the scoring power be there? He knows the crowd aren't going to be with him. That's why there was some irony in that, the way he was sort of trying to get them going. He knows the score. Anyway, he's left that red on, albeit with not simple position.
O'Sullivan came through one of the matches of the tournament thus far, that sparkling. We know he's the greatest break builder the game has ever seen. If he's knocking in the long ones to create chances, then it's normally bad news for the opposition. Mistake. And were he to win an 8th this weekend, he would become the oldest ever winner, eclipsing Stuart Bingham,
30.
who was in his 44th year when he won it 4 years ago. And therefore replicate what he achieved at the UK Championship in becoming the youngest and the oldest champion.
Just wants to avoid hitting that red, just the one that's beyond, to the left of the cue ball there. And they couldn't avoid it.
14.
But I think that was a very well played shot. You know, he steered the cue ball back to a top of the side of the blue position. Good shot.
$90. 20.
30. Yeah, I mean, if he was to do what he did in York, as you pointed out again here, and become
25.
the youngest and the oldest winner of the Masters, don't know what it says about him that we haven't already said. Maybe that
26.
he was just ahead of his time as a player back then. Perhaps that's what it was. Played a game that others have tried to emulate now, and some have done it, but he's still there. I don't think he's played a very good shot that time, however.
32.
Is he on one? He's on the left-hand red. But that was a very surprising positional error from a nothing spot on the table, quite honestly. He did not need to be playing this red. He's done well there, you know. One of the worst positional shots I've seen from O'Sullivan for a long time, which he managed to put right immediately.
A record 7 titles here, of course, but it is 7 years since he last won it. So we could almost say he's overdue, even though it is an extraordinary tally he's already amassed. He's been out 39 in this round in the last 3 years. He hasn't played a lot of snooker this season, if truth be told. He's withdrawn from 5 ranking events. He didn't defend his Champion of Champions title, and yet he's second on the 1-year list. And of course, that's almost entirely down to winning the UK with the $250,000 first prize that came with it.
45.
Handy bump of the middle pocket. To be on a red he didn't mean to play on. Now, does the black spot or not? Slightly tie up things at the black end. It might be in my imagination. It sounds a bit like Ronnie's cue is making a strange sound, but maybe people at home could
52.
hear in and see it differently. Maybe it's my ears. But
53.
anyway, he's doing all right.
.67 left, so this blue, a red in any colour, to be short.
.58.
Barry Hawkins made the safety error, caught the yellow on the way back to balk.
Yeah, and this has not been immaculate positional play for once from O'Sullivan, because he has made a couple of errors which he has got right straight away, but the bottom line is 65. It's going to be 1-0 to the Rocket, and Barry Hawkins, from that error you spoke about, is going to be punished.
66. .73. 74. .81.
Closing in on a possible 86th Masters
86.
century. And when you consider the great Stephen Hendry, who won this title 5 times in a row, is his nearest rival in that regard. With 46, it just underlines the greatness of O'Sullivan.
88. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 88.
The century eludes him, but that's some start from O'Sullivan. A frame that's come and gone in barely 10 minutes, with a break of 88 after Barry Hawkins made the mistake. The Rocket leads 1-0. Barry Hawkins had in mind, a safety mistake. Ronnie O'Sullivan stepped in with 88. Hawkins, of course, had a terrific win over Neil Robertson in the first round. He withstood a good comeback from Robertson with those back-to-back centuries to come through. Can he overcome the psychological hurdle of having just 2 victories against his opponent today in 19 attempts? Although one of them, of course, did come at the World Championship in 2016 over the best of 25.
Thank you. The second frame. Barry Hawkins to break.
He doesn't need reminding of their meeting in the final in 2016. As Jimmy mentioned earlier, he won the first frame of that final, and that was as good as it got. O'Sullivan won the next 10. But I think Hawkins is a better player now than he was then, and he comes into this match, this tournament, feeling good about his game. He's had a very consistent season, a couple of semi-finals as well as that European Masters title, and he beat world champion Brissell, Mark Selby, and then Judd Trump in the final to win it. So proof there that he's capable of beating the very best when it matters. But there is yet another humdinger of a long red, and we're seeing a lot of that from O'Sullivan in recent seasons.
An amazing shot, and also he's on the black, I think, with the angle to break the 2 reds. He hit it hard. It was very tight, I'd say, as to whether he could get to the potting angle, but it all happened in such a blur that
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
it would have been hard to call him up on it, really. But anyway, the pot didn't go in, so that's the crucial part. Well, he hasn't settled in yet. Samoos and Arles, having seen it missed. Fairly narrow pocket opening, but I didn't really think he'd miss it. Always top side. Barry looked surprised that it stayed out. He looked down the line of it.
One.
The winner of this match will play either Sean Murphy or Jack
6.
Lazowski. What a match that promises to be this evening from just after 7 o'clock UK time, 6:45, build up with Radzi and the team.
7.
Judd Trump to play Ali Carter tomorrow afternoon. Another cracking match in the offing. Of course, that is the beauty of the Masters. Every match is a great match. And then Mark Selby against Mark Allen in the evening tomorrow to determine our last 4 lineup.
14.
Well, this red will pass the other one. It's not a full pocket. He could hit it on the way through. Or he could make an allowance. And I think it was because
Ronnie
it
O'Sullivan
was not a
14.
full pocket opening. He knew he had to go from his angle right side, our left. And he overdid it slightly. And you can see the other red is kind of in the way a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what he played there, and that was to try and power the cue ball into the bunch and hope for the best.
Barry Hawkins 1.
Yes, he's on the blue, but he's got no amount of reds in open play.
It was fascinating to hear that interview with Ronnie
6.
O'Sullivan ahead of this match, where he was discussing how he feels that his reputation is sometimes enough to put the frighteners up his opponents.
7.
Well, I mean, it's something that Steve Davis had in his prime, and Stephen Hendry definitely had. That they were players were in awe of what they're up against, and I think in the case of Sullivan, it's probably even a greater asset to have when some of your opponents are
12.
a little bit awestruck before a game, maybe beaten before they start. I'm not saying anyone in the Masters is in that position, but lower ranked players anyway.
13.
A bit straight here, isn't he? I wonder if he could just run this around 2 cushions to go into the bunch. I think that's what he's going to try, but do well to get enough pace on the white to break them. It's a great effort. You could see that happening though. End of break.
20. Barry Hawkins, 20.
There was a slightly concerned expression on his face at the end of his visit because he knew he'd left O'Sullivan hand on the table. But on this occasion, he can't find the long red in the way he did at the start of this match with a fabulous bit of cueing.
Not a bad safety shot. I think the right side of the bunch for Hawkins, he can get around that channel up to the other end to a position of safety without anything really being in the way this time. Don't know if the top 2 reds are some sort of a possible plant to left corner. More in hope than anything. He's playing the bottom red though. I think the strategy of safety has never been better in snooker. There was a time when I'd see players just trying to get the cue ball somewhere down the other end, you know, anywhere past the bulk line, but that's never going to be enough in this day and age. Trying to cut one side of the table off is the plan, and I get the feeling Ronnie has done most of that. And if he can get to one red on the left side. Sometimes the unnoticed aspect of O'Sullivan's game will be that safety shot we've just seen, putting an immense pressure on his opponent. Playing behind the yellow, a little short, but not the worst shot. O'Sullivan may have a shot to nothing here. So that exchange very much won by O'Sullivan. He's got the better of it and got a nice flick on the brown.
16 out of 20 long pots successfully negotiated by O'Sullivan now in this tournament. It's a very good return, 80%. Given the position of the Reds, it's looking a little ominous again for Hawkins.
6.
It really is. I mean, look at the balls, as you say. He's missed a couple, but in general, I think he looks quite zoned in on the job in hand.
12.
Well, that's the one thing he didn't need, although he's on the red, which takes the cue ball away from the high-value colours a little bit.
20.
I think a better shot than it first looked to hold. Probably will consider the ping here. Well, this offers guaranteed position. Wow.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 20.
Well, now he missed that by an alarming distance. So that will always put a seed of doubt in any player's mind when you hit one like that.
And this feels like
What?
an opportunity Hawkins has to take. He'll still have a few scars, no doubt, from that drubbing he received from this man in the final back in 2016. That was very unexpected. Can Hawkins make him pay, and in the process get involved in this match early, which feels essential for him if he's to cause a surprise today?
Eight. Nine. 16. $17.
Just a little bit of pressure on this shot. He's further away from this black than he would like to be. No problem. So as Philip said, you know, that
24.
quite surprising error on the ping from O'Sullivan has got to be punished.
25.
Might be able to just screw down the centre of the table here. As a left-hander, he'd be able to reach the red to the opposite corner. Yeah, that's fine. So far, so good for Barry Hawkins.
32. $33.
Had a difficult early relationship with this tournament, made his debut in 2007, lost his first 5 matches here. His next appearance took him to the final, and we know what happened there, but if he can punish that mistake from O'Sullivan, get himself level early, that should provide a big boost of confidence in his bid for just a 3rd ever win over O'Sullivan.
Just yellow. Is all he needs. A little bit nervy. Shouldn't have come anywhere near the right middle.
41.
Sort of frame ball can do that to you sometimes. It is only one snooker, however. So O'Sullivan is sure to play on.
Hawkins,
The frame
41.
isn't quite over yet. He's desperately in need of cover here. The only other thing I would say is if it's dead straight, he doesn't want to run this cue ball into the same pocket as the green. Never quite straight enough for that, so just a little bit of a seed of doubt in O'Sullivan's mind. The pink he missed was a very poorly cued shot. It cost him the frame.
Barry Hawkins 3 on the frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan concedes. It was a very surprising miss on the pink, with the Reds very invitingly spread for 2-0, and Barry Hawkins will be delighted to be level at 1 frame all. Punish that mistake. So battle joined. First to 6, of course, to go through. Winner to play either Sean Murphy or Jack Lazowski. That is a cracker making this evening from just after 7 o'clock UK time. Down to the quarterfinals now, of course, just 8 players left.
Thank you. The third frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Well, it was a good break from O'Sullivan. He always seems to suggest that his break-off is one of his weak points. He plays it left-handed for reasons we don't quite know. He's trying to get a thinnest of thin edges here, Hawkins. It's difficult. And that often will be the case that you'll miss altogether.
And a miss.
If you hit it too thick, of course, cue ball goes close to the left corner. Possibility of it either going in off or probably even worse.
From there.
Where you would leave a red on. I don't know why he's decided not to have it put back, but he has, playing it from here.
Maybe he knew something. A double kiss.
Well, he didn't leave his chair. He wasn't wrong, was he? Because it was it looked fairly innocuous, but he has made it.
He looked very relaxed, didn't he, Hawkins, walking in to a big ovation from the crowd. He was whipping them up, all smiles, but just alluding to that Mike Tyson analogy that O'Sullivan was making in the interview ahead of this match. It's one thing coming in believing, but when you actually get out there on the table, do you still believe? And given his record against this man, maybe Hawkins is just trying to convince himself.
6.
A little. He's looked a bit edgy so far, even though he is level. That frame ball yellow, perhaps evidence of that.
7.
That'll do. He just flicked the black on the way through, but he just meant to just directly move the red away, and that's what happened. That's not one of his best.
14.
Should be right behind this red, facing the pocket.
15.
But once again, he plays a good recovery shot.
21.
They could go into the bunch here, standing into the left side of the bunch. Not quite as you would hope. The red up
28.
the table. He'd rather be on something a lot easier, of course.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 28.
It's a bit patchy so far from O'Sullivan. 1 or 2 errors. This wasn't easy, clearly. Well, where's this going to end up?
At the moment, he's giving O'Sullivan too many chances. You're right, O'Sullivan, it's been a bit patchy from him, but if he keeps being fed these opportunities, there's only one outcome of this match.
1.
Even if he's not winning the frames in one visit. That was a lovely shot. That was a good split this time.
8. 9.
O'Sullivan looked at nigh on certainty for 2-0 in the previous frame before missing a pink out of the blue. He's already 46 ahead in this one. Surely there'll be no
40.
slip up this time in his bid to retake the lead.
15.
Well, they'll be more than happy with that outcome. Slightly lost control of the cue ball, but now with the red up the table, almost a penalty kick. That green.
80. 19. 24. 25.
'Almost on the brink of getting his lead back here.
30.
This colour will be enough. The red to follow it will guarantee a 2-1 lead. You might feel that he should have been 3-0 up, but Hawkins did well in the end to claim frame 2. Played a couple of shots in this frame, Hawkins, that just got O'Sullivan started straight away.
38. 39.
Yes, no mistake this time.
46.
This frame has only been going 7
47.
minutes, and that's where the intimidation factor can come in with O'Sullivan. When he's in full flow, he does his damage so quickly. Frames can disappear in the blink of an eye. He's missed that black, but it doesn't matter.
47.
47 more than enough to account for frame 3. A couple of errors from Barry in that one that proved expensive. O'Sullivan back in front here at Alexandra Palace. In the quarterfinals, he leads by 2 frames to 1. The beauty of the Masters is that every match is a cracking match. The creme de la creme of the sport gathering here at Alexandra Palace. And here's another instalment this evening. What a match this promises to be. Sean Murphy up against Jack Lazowski. Murphy Former champion, of course, in winning this tournament, completed the Triple Crown. Lisowski still searching for his first major title.
Now, one thing Barry Hawkins has got to do that he hasn't been able to do so far is contain O'Sullivan. And there, again, he's not finding the bulk cushion. He's giving O'Sullivan a chance to get his hand on the table, which he knows is not quite going to be enough today. We've said that Hawkins has got a terrific all-round game, but right now, the safety is not up to scratch. Can't give these chances at this level.
Five.
Continuing to impress from distance, O'Sullivan with his consistency.
6.
Yeah, that running side might have
11.
not put him on a ball here. Hewmore fizzed around 2 cushions, but went nowhere that was any good to him.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. 11.
Let's see if Hawkins can brush up on his safety. Stop O'Sullivan because he's barely been able to keep him out in any of the 3 frames. I know he's won one of them, but he needs to play 4 or 5 shots on which O'Sullivan doesn't end up putting a ball when it's his turn, just to take the sting out of the afternoon. And that, I'm afraid, is not the shot. It's not happening for him. Might have finished worse, but he just cannot contain him as of yet.
Yeah, that was a better shot than it looked from O'Sullivan. He's going to need another one. Goodness. Very close,
Ronnie
but
O'Sullivan 1.
no joy.
No, he's on the walk there. He knew he'd missed it, but I think if he could have dropped it in, he wouldn't have missed. But he was just trying to get the cue ball out a bit for the next red. He had to hit it with a bit more pace.
Yeah, another little shake of the head from Hawkins. He's not happy with his game at the moment. Dodged a bit of a bullet in the second frame. It was a good clearance in the end to steal it after O'Sullivan's miss ping. But he's definitely not looking himself right now. He did play superbly to win the European Masters in Nuremberg. It was a title that was well overdue for a player of his high caliber. It had been 6.5 years since he'd won a ranking event. 4 ranking titles in all for Hawkins. 31 semi-finals in ranking events. So he's never had any trouble getting to the sharp end of big tournaments.
It's not a straightforward shot, though, for O'Sullivan, this. Does he take the red on, up just to the left of the pink? Try and get the cue ball back. Yeah, that's what he's tried. He's going to do well to avoid leaving something on. Well, that was a mistake, but I understand why he tried that shot.
Good pot. And a big visit here for Hawkins. If he could escape from this mini session at 2 each, I think he'd be highly delighted.
Yeah, because I don't actually think he settled very well. I know he got that crucial break of 41 to win frame 2, but might settle him if he could win this one and get all square, as you say.
Seven.
Well, he's always got the backup red right up the table.
40.
Right there, which of course he hopes not to have to need for a while.
$50.
Might be easier, you know, here on this blue, just to screw into the 3 reds in a line across the pink spot. Just to hold for position. I think that's the shot he would need to play. Yeah, absolutely fine, that is.
Made his second final
20.
a couple of years ago, where he was beaten by Neil Robertson when Robertson was playing at the top of his game. Missed out in a decider at this stage last season to eventual champion Judd Trump. He dropped out of the top 16.
28.
Having had an indifferent campaign aside from making the European Masters final, where he lost a scrappy
29.
match to Kyron Wilson. Nothing better than the round of 16 after that, which is why he found himself having to try and qualify. Lost to Jack Jones. And I think that was a bit of a wake-up call for Hawkins. And it spurred him into life with that terrific run to the title in Nuremberg, as mentioned.
36.
He's 5th on the one-year list, which is indicative of what a consistent season he's had.
$37.
But if he could beat Ronnie O'Sullivan here on his own patch, get himself back into the semi-finals, that would be one of the most satisfying victories of his career. Particularly given that he's been on the wrong end of it almost invariably against his opponent today.
So now he is forced to take on this long red that's close to the top pocket.
44.
Because positionally it's dried up this break.
45.
Nice to have that sort of shot as backup, isn't it? Just got a bit more to do, though, here still. He's not quite over the line. You feel that he will go on and win the frame from here, but it's not a certainty. The red, the other side of the brown, is slightly tricky to get on at a good angle. He's played that really well. He's gone through the gap between green and brown.
48. $49.
So a choice here. Is he going to play on the red in bulk, or is he going to play the positive shot, which is to try and get on one of the three reds down this end? Looks to me like he's playing on the red on the bulk cushion, which kind of slightly skirts around the issue that he does need to get onto the three reds,
51.
and then the frame will be his.
$52.
This yellow, another red, and any colour for 2-all.
Yeah, that was pretty well played.
54. $55.
Well, the colour that Philip mentioned that would have just signed and sealed it is going to be quite difficult to get. So at the moment, if Hawkins doesn't pot a ball here, O'Sullivan can tie. Crucially.
Yeah, very awkward queuing this.
Yeah, he won't be playing on a red, I can tell you.
Frame ball, though. Well played. And this has been a really good break. And I think what will please Hawkins the most is that he's not really played as he can so
61.
far, and yet he's been able to share this mini session. Absolutely vital. He made a good start, as was mentioned in the studio ahead of this
62.
match, particularly given the lopsided record in O'Sullivan's favour between this pair. And that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, it's just in this fourth frames, Barry Hawkins has started doing things that Barry Hawkins does so well.
67.
So he wasn't in the match early. Safety's not been great, but now he's just, very importantly,
68.
taking the frame, and we're all square. Interesting.
$74.
That was a very important break from Barry Hawkins of 74 to tie this match up. It's been a bit in and out from the 7-times champ Ronnie O'Sullivan, and Hawkins has been able to punish some of those errors from the Rocket to share the spoils at the midway point. All to play for. It's 2 frames apiece at the break. As you were after 4 frames, it's now who do battle this
Thank you,
evening.
the
It's been
fifth
intriguing stuff. Neither player
Thank you
has
now.
hit the heights. I think
The fifth
Hawkins
frame.
undoubtedly will be the
Ronnie
happier of the
O'Sullivan to
two.
break.
O'Sullivan looked a dead cert for 2-0. Could easily have been at least 3-1 up. As it is, level pegging in this their 20th meeting. O'Sullivan having won 17 of the previous 19, including the final in 2016. Who does have a victory at the Crucible to speak of over O'Sullivan back in the same year that he lost that final, 2016, 13-12. And he's given himself a chance in the second half of the match.
Foul.
Well, it's kind of the shot he had earlier. almost identical, but he missed altogether. And at the time I explained why he missed altogether, because the worst thing is you can hit too much of the red and either do that or cue ball goes into the jaws and out onto a red. Now this is a test of O'Sullivan's cue, and he had one pink that he missed, which will be somewhere in the back of his mind, I think, earlier. And that wasn't hit well either. Had he been more confident there, I wonder if he'd have just potted it and stayed on the black rather than gone up for the blue. If his confidence was high, he could have put it by the yellow spot, almost straight, cued it in on the red, on the black with the red above it. All these things, as a snooker player, trust me, you think about. I know O'Sullivan's a little different to everyone else. But if you're not feeling that you're cueing at your absolute best, you don't want to take on the bigger shots.
The fact that both players are in the 80s with their pot success is indicative that they haven't yet played as they can, but there's a lot of pressure out there. There's huge amounts at stake for O'Sullivan. He's looking to create yet more history. Record extending 8th title. And for Hawkins, he's looking to elevate his career to a new level by winning a first Triple Crown title. And it's all a bit edgy, isn't it? More of the same after the interval.
No, I didn't expect that, I've got to be honest here. Yes, it was a little awkward, but not very awkward, let's be honest.
One thing it hasn't been is slow. Average frame time just 12 minutes so far.
Well, I think that's, as I said earlier, I think Hawkins is not keeping O'Sullivan out. And one way or another, you know, it's a scoring match really without safety's not really been a factor, is it, in the 4 frames? It's all about who gets in first or second or third in some cases in a frame.
Sullivan's 88 in the opening frame. Hawkins with that excellent 74 in the 4th to level second time.
Well, it looks to have cover on that red for once there, not leaving O'Sullivan straight back in. Also find a way of not leaving that red that's near the pocket. It's certainly the brave route to play that. Rather strange shot there, because he didn't try and cover the red near the pocket, but maybe he had an idea that he could move it with the red and the black. Whatever he tried there, it's put Hawkins in a spot of bother this time. Certainly as far as getting back to the bulkhead. Playing with left-hand side here, I think. Yeah, trying to avoid sending the cue ball off in the wrong direction. Slightly odd start to this fifth frame, to be honest. A couple of chances gone away. And still not a ball potted. Now, when he's right, Hawkins, he knocks those in. But in this case, he must have left something, surely. Whether that be a two-ball planter to the right corner or the red by the black, cushion first perhaps, if not directly. It was a good plant in the end, and it didn't disturb the reds too much around the black spot. Or in that corner where the black is, rather. Has he landed awkwardly?
8.
Maybe I'd have popped the left-hand red of the two. That one. As far as getting position, I think he's playing another plant here. You can sense it.
And weirdly, that might be having an impact on Hawkins as well, who was probably expecting to have to play lights out today to beat O'Sullivan. And the fact that he's made more errors than he would normally. Encouraged by the fact that at the moment, the 7 times winner isn't quite there.
It's interesting that plant was there, because I'm surprised O'Sullivan didn't have a chance to play on it earlier on in that small break.
Eight. Nine. $15. Cheers, Barry. Thank you. 16.
Oh, this would be quite a moment, wouldn't it, if you could not only have been pleased to be at 2-all, but if he could get his nose in front.
22.
Might change the sort of afternoon we're going to see. It's a very appreciative crowd here at the Ali Pali, but he's kind of silenced them a little bit because they're all in there to see O'Sullivan and a few neutrals, I guess. He's managed to take the sting out of all of that. Now he can just do what he does.
30.
I certainly think Hawkins would be a popular winner of this tournament. We all know that the lion's share of the crowd are almost always with O'Sullivan because of the way he plays, but Hawkins is
31.
very well liked, very pleasant individual, who I think has a bit of a love-hate relationship with this sport. He's not necessarily passionate about it, he just happens to be extremely good at it and can make a very good living out of it. But I remember him saying in the past that there have been times when he can't stand the game, but he's been very successful.
Well, Barry is very good at treating it like a job, isn't he? That's the point. Sort of clock in, clock out. It's a good approach to have sometimes.
37.
Anyway, looks like he's okay on that left-hand red. I can see no reason why he won't be able to pot it, but I think he's also looking at the other red next to it for future. Definitely goes. Absolutely 100% goes.
Would have come as a shock to the system to Hawkins to miss out on the Crucible at the end of last season. He'd been there every year since 2006, 17 in a row. But maybe he'll look back on that moment as actually how important this sport is to him.
Didn't quite get that last cannon right. Yes, he's on the red. I suppose he's got backup pots, but the break is starting to get a little bit more difficult now by the shot.
$46.
That's well played. But of course, the problem with those 4 reds,
49.
basically from here, once this red is potted, the remaining 6 are all somewhat awkward to, but by no means sure to win the frame at this visit. I think we can very safely say that's end of break. What on earth is he going to play here?
56.
I don't know what you do, quite honestly. There's any use. Didn't know he could see all of that.
56.
But he's left the red as a possible pot. So a brilliant shot, actually.
It is a good lead, given knock this in. And she does. Oh, and he's released one of those awkward reds in the process.
Yeah, Hawkins' shot was not great. Not really, because it's bubble whatsoever.
Well, there have been a few errors like that today from O'Sullivan. Moments of
Ronnie
the usual
O'Sullivan
excellence, but mistakes that are uncharacteristic in Hawkins' favour. Pot success at 84. That's very unusual for O'Sullivan after 4.5 frames.
one.
Yes, he played the cannon because he also needed some of the reds that were tied up in that left corner. Just needs to ensure he doesn't.
Moment, he's well below par. Hawkins is taking advantage from behind to in front at 3-2. 7 times Masters champion Ronnie O'Sullivan with things to think about. 3-2 behind to Barry Hawkins. Just a reminder that from this Sunday, our coverage of the first tennis Grand Slam of the year gets underway from Melbourne, Australia. The Australian Open from the 14th to the 28th of January on Eurosport, across our digital platform as well. You can watch it all live.
Thank you. The 6th frame. Barry Hawkins to break.
A different dynamic about this match now. Hawkins on a bit before the interval, but got out of it unscathed at 2-all. Now he's in front. And it's up to O'Sullivan to respond. Decent break-off, close to the baulk cushion. But an even better riposte from O'Sullivan. What a red. That's got the crowd going.
Well, he knocked one of those in earlier on in the match. It was terrific as that one was. I mean, this is such a difficult shot. He knows he's going to play it around 2 cushions. One was. I mean, this is such a difficult shot. He knows he's going to play it around 2 cushions, so he uses a bit of extra pace. Maybe that helped him, but it was terrific all the same. He's on something right up the table. Yeah, it was not actually a bad result from the black where he landed.
This sport defies logic sometimes, doesn't it? Hawkins has played a pretty respectable break-off there. Who knows, it could be his last shot of this frame. Long way to go, but brilliant opening red from O'Sullivan as he looks to
16.
break free of the shackles.
Yeah, I don't think he can quite get to that red at the bottom of the bunch, I don't think. Interesting, he's staying on the black though there, and he mightn't always have done that. From here, he can either go into the bunch or play on that red he thought about landing on last time. A lot of effort went into that, didn't it?
Hint of Hurricane
24.
Higgins about that one from O'Sullivan.
25.
This seems to be a more purposeful visit. He's come out at the start of this frame, determined to just change the feel about things. He's not quite been there so far this afternoon. That might be about to change. Is it going to hold up?
28.
Only just.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 28.
Only 1/2 century from O'Sullivan so far today, the 88 in the opening frame.
Well, the mistake this time from Hawkins does not result in him leaving an easy opener for O'Sullivan, but that was kind of the story of the early frames.
1.
Could be a second in a row left-handed shot here. Well, the crowd are trying to get behind him. They're sensing that he's not fully at his best here. You know, he's trying his darndest to win, but he's not quite motoring, but not always that far away from lift-off with snooker, especially from O'Sullivan. Oh, goodness me. Well, that is not going to make him feel better.
Pink has not been his friend today. It was a routine one that he missed in frame when he looked at dead cert for 2-0, which allowed Hawkins back in. It's happened again.
Well, it'll be significant if he wins the frame from it, Hawkins, and that is the frame from it, Hawkins, and that is the crucial point. It's a bad mistake from O'Sullivan. You could see how he felt about it, disgusted. Hawkins takes the frame, it hurts even more.
8.
Particularly as it will give Hawkins a 2-frame cushion. That will really put the 7-times champion under pressure if he can achieve that. Would be his 3rd consecutive frame. Long way to go.
$60. $17.
We looked across on the left side into the right corner to see if anything was possible. Of course, if it isn't, then he can easily get the cue ball into them from the angle he has. It's all fairly close quarters there. It looks tight to me. I think he's going to have to play into them directly. That'll do nicely.
$4. $25.
Oh dear, that's a rank bad shot, I think,
32.
Positionally. He knows it. He looks quite bewildered by it as well.
Barry Hawkins, 32.
Big cheers for O'Sullivan, with Hawkins failing to make the most of that opportunity. Right back in the frame. What a big frame this is now. Aside from that impressive World Championship win in 2016, the only other time that Hawkins has tasted success against O'Sullivan, 22 years ago at the Scottish Open. A good time to find his range from distance, because as you saw from that stat, he hasn't been great, but could have done with a kiss.
Yeah, that's one of his trademarks, though, that shot from just off the cushion. Slightly unusual bridge. Now he's got to take this brown on. This is also a very important shot. Trying to get too close to the red. Seems a very important passenger
5
right now. Where's this match going? Is it going Hawkins 2 up with O'Sullivan struggling? Or is this frame going to change it round?
Pressure on this one.
Well, there could be the answer.
Barry Hawkins 5.
Could be a way back into the match for O'Sullivan when things were just starting to slip.
One of those iffy mid-range pots. When you're under pressure, you know the gravity of the situation.
1.
So can O'Sullivan now punish Hawkins and level this match again? Oh, there's your answer. Would you believe it? What a time to miscue.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1. Barry Hawkins 6.
Well, I'm going to say it again. I said it at the start of the match. Make no more of it because I could be wrong, but I thought his tip was making a strange noise early in the match. Could just be sometimes the acoustics, but that miscue has not really changed my opinion. Something isn't 100% right.
Another chance for Hawkins to close this out.
One.
Yeah, and of course we see the red below the black spot. As we look at the miscue again, it's a horrible feeling, I can tell you, when you do miscue. And Sullivan is completely crestfallen when it happens to him. The red below the black is absolutely key, of course. That's where the frame is likely to be won or lost.
Spider, yeah.
Tip belatedly getting some attention from O'Sullivan. This is no fun. Spider. Yeah. Never nice when you're queuing down on the ball like that. It's very nervy and edgy now. Both players acutely aware of the significance of this frame.
Quiet, please.
Another chance for O'Sullivan to draw level.
One.
It's almost like a deciding frame, isn't it? The way it's gone. But there's a lot of snooker to be played yet. So he's a little straight again. Cue ball a bit further up and he could just drop this in. Now he's got to use a tiny bit more pace. Or just roll it and be short on the black is the way he went. Well, importantly, pink is not going to be a factor.
16.
It's going to be too many in front by the time that is the ball on.
80.
And this will hurt Hawkins. He'll feel, I'm sure, he's missed the boat a bit in this frame. Golden chances to make it 4-2, really put the pressure on O'Sullivan. He's been struggling a bit.
21.
The miscue won't have helped his confidence, but he can forget that now. It's going to be level again, surely. Brown and blue required.
85.
It's not the highest standard, but of course, when there are misses and mishaps, the snooker is arguably even more compelling, and this certainly is. Mighty roar from this Ali Pali crowd. 22 in it, so Hawkins needs a couple of snookers. Highly unlikely. And now impossible. By hook or by crook, Ronnie O'Sullivan has levelled this match when it was looking as though he was going to fall 2 behind and in some trouble. Barry Hawkins will feel frustrated about that. We're level again at the midway point at 3-all. Ronnie O'Sullivan between frames giving special attention to the tip of his cue. He remains old school when it comes to his chalk. He's still using the old stuff, the stuff that perhaps was not quite as effective in eliminating kicks, but it was a miscue that seemed likely to cost him in the previous frame. Barry Hawkins was left with that awkward shot with the bridge rest, the spider on the pink. He couldn't negotiate it, and O'Sullivan made the most of his reprieve. So it feels like a huge frame. This is the miscue in question.
Yeah, I mean, he had to dig down on it a little bit to hold for the two reds, but the miscue did not seem likely. And it's a sort of heart-sinking moment when you do miscue. But he won the frame. I don't know how, but he won it.
How is Hawkins going to respond to the disappointment of not moving too clear?
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan has missed 2 pinks he'd normally pot in this match. He's miscued on the pink, but he's 3 each. And it's now a best of 5 for the right to play either Murphy or Lazowski. They do battle this evening. That's one not to be missed from 6:45 UK time. Radzi and the team in the studio with the build-up. And they'll be underway just after 7 o'clock UK. Well, that's a good way to get frustration out of your system. Ram in a long red. Excellent from Hawkins.
I'm not sure what goes in that bunch of reds to the left corner. Nothing, I would say. So he's overdone it on that last shot. The only red he can play, I think, it's a left-hand red from not a very nice angle. I think he'll be taking the cue ball back to the bulk end from this. Well, maybe better off to do that because of the in-off. If he could have taken the cue ball down to the bulk colours, he wouldn't have gone in-off. But it's a shame, really, because it was a nice pop, this. It was thin. For someone who's right-handed to play that shot left-handed around 2 cushions into the bunch,
5.
Incredible shot, really. It's kind of loose, isn't it, this match? Fast and loose, not much else happening in the way of, like, wouldn't necessarily be one for the connoisseur as of yet, but there's plenty of chances being handed back and forth.
One.
Yes, there's definitely a frenetic feel about the snooker at the moment. Both players have reason to regret missed opportunities. Hawkins certainly in the previous frame. But given his record against O'Sullivan, if you'd offered Hawkins 3 each after 6 frames, guessing he'd have taken it.
Cheers, mate. 8.
Black currently completely out of commission. Has he overcut this? Yeah, it always looked as though it was heading to the jaw. Another missed opportunity for the Hawk.
One.
I have to say that when you see the chances that Hawkins is missing, knowing that this match could be there for him today, you wonder if the head-to-heads do come in. He's miles behind on the head-to-heads with O'Sullivan over his career. 17-2. So...
7.
Now, today's another day, but sometimes the past results get too much. So O'Sullivan is definitely there for the taking. If
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Hawkins
7.
can step up to the plate and just do it, it seems to me. I know that if really challenged, O'Sullivan might play better, but he isn't playing well.
One. Seven. Eight.
It's not the match we expected it to be, certainly, and maybe Hawkins has been slightly distracted by the fact that O'Sullivan has made the errors he has. His pot success, O'Sullivan remains down at 84. Hawkins is only at 85. No one would have predicted those figures at the outset,
14.
but this match is very much up for grabs.
15.
Yeah, it's almost a lot of pressure on Hawkins to now go and win this frame, because if this frame also went the same way as the last, then you know, it'd make him feel pretty fed up, I think. You think of all the times he's been up against O'Sullivan when he's been completely blown away by the rocket. And today it's not been one of those days at the moment. They're both giving each other chance after chance.
Their 20th meeting, and I'm sure Hawkins must feel now he's never going to get a better chance than this
22.
for his third win.
$28.
Well, that's
29.
not the ideal angle on the pink. Yes, he can send the cue ball across, but when the pink is respotted, he's got to ensure that he can get to a red. If he was to underhit this, he might not be in anything. Oh, doesn't matter whether he's on a red, because it's O'Sullivan who's on the red now.
29.
A long way off. The pink has caused problems for both players this afternoon. Just 26 the deficit for O'Sullivan.
Well, it was natural to get the two safe reds in play, and quite honestly, that could not have worked out better.
Confirmation of the lackluster pot success return for both players. But it'll be Hawkins who'll be feeling it more right now, because he had golden chances for 4-2. He's just spurned the chance for 4-3.
Yeah.
Now, this frame is in O'Sullivan's hands.
He's worried about pointing the black and being...
8.
Seeing that red directly above it. Tying it up. Of course, the black will have to go there. Let's just see what Rob Spencer does here. Is there any chance of the red being tied up? Close one, isn't it?
15.
Now, could he get that any closer? Maybe it's on the spot, is it? If it's on the spot, it's on the spot, clearly, but...
I'll do it from this side again, Ronnie, you can see.
I thought that when Rob put it on the spot last time, the red went anyway.
Okay.
Do you know what? I think that this time
15.
It's been respotted and it's tighter than the first time. I wouldn't have asked for that to be checked.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
That was a strange one.
15.
That was a strange one.
Now Hawkins is looking.
I don't think it's quite on. It might just go in off the very left part of the jaw to a quarter of the pocket or whatever.
Would be something if he potted it now, wouldn't it, after O'Sullivan spurned the opportunity?
Well, look, it might go, but that is devilishly tight, I can tell you that one, because normally you can see a ball goes. So I'm really not sure this one does. As I say, it might go off the top jaw. And as you point out, it would hurt O'Sullivan if it did. I think the black's covering it. The camera doesn't lie.
Yeah, you were right, and so was O'Sullivan. Could have been worse for Hawkins, having missed it.
True, but he was always going to be in this snooker now. O'Sullivan is kind of favoured in the frame despite being 11 behind. This didn't go.
It feels like this match is being played on fast forward. It's been quite scrappy at times, and yet the frames have flown by. The average time is still just 13 minutes and change. That's another terrific red from Ronnie O'Sullivan from long range. That is an area of his game that has remained rock solid again. Even if there have been errors from shorter distance, and it could well take him to a 4-3 lead.
Well, if one shot could inspire a player, I think it would be a shot like that one. He cued it very well, in contrast with some of the other shots he's played.
8.
Still operating at well over 3 out of 4 for the tournament from distance. Very good. And cause for regret again for Barry. He might have been
14.
a little fortunate not to be 3-1 behind at the interval, but he'll certainly feel he should be in front at this stage of the match. Instead, he is going to be adrift again.
17.
Barring something surprising.
Yeah, brown and blue. That's what he needs here. He's just checked that.
21.
Well, I suppose anything's missable on today, but this is to put him back in front.
26.
Another harum-scarum frame, but it's gone the way of Ronnie O'Sullivan.
32.
2 frames that he could easily have lost. That he's ended up winning. And he's back in front as a result, and within 2 of a place in the last 4 at the Masters. You can't take your eyes off this one. O'Sullivan leads 4 frames to 3. Ronnie O'Sullivan led 2-1, trailed 3-2, and now leads 4-3. It's been a roller coaster encounter thus far. Let's just replay what happened here, because as Neil has indicated, when Spencer, our referee, initially respotted the black, it looks there as though there might be space for it to go through.
Well, I think that went. I'm convinced now, I've seen it again, that went first time. And when he put it on there second time, because you're entitled to have the referee check it, but if you think the ball goes, you don't want it checked. You want him to leave it where it is. And when he put it back on the second time, to me, it was even closer to the red. I mean, judge for yourself if you're watching.
15.
Are my eyes gone or what? But I think that was in a slightly different place. But it was not in Ronnie's favour, and certainly not in Barry's favour when he ended up playing it, thinking it went. So it was an odd one to me. Judge for yourself. It's quite in a different place. The bottom line is, O'Sullivan leads 4-3. I don't know well enough to win today or win the tournament, but if you're in it, you can win it.
Take your seats, please. Thank you. The 8th frame. Barry Hawkins to break.
Barry Hawkins breaking off, and no doubt wondering how he's doing so in a losing position at the moment at 4-3 down, when he could easily have been in front with the chances he's had in the last couple of frames. O'Sullivan had some scrapes on his way to his record-extending 8th UK title, of course. A couple of matches he could easily have lost. Perhaps most notably against Rob Milkins in the decider in the round of 16. Ended up winning the tournament, so although he's been far from his best today, if he does win, who'd bet against him? But still a long way to go. 4-3, 6th the target. Either Jack Lazowski or Sean Murphy to play the winner. They do battle tonight.
Of course, the thing which will hurt Barry Hawkins if he doesn't win today is that he's wrong end of so many when O'Sullivan's played so well. You know, he hasn't played well today, as I was saying earlier. So how can he beat him at any point? If not today, O'Sullivan is vulnerable. He's just feeding him chance after chance.
Yes, there have been times when Hawkins has been blown away by the brilliance of O'Sullivan. Clearly that's not been the scenario today, but are we heading for a similar result as we've had 17 out of the 19 previous meetings between them?
Now all the black pot, it's mighty tied up, doesn't it? When he says no, I think he's right. I can't believe the black would go to the right corner with the red above it.
Nine. So. $14.
Well, that was nice striking. And he might have just found himself on the left-hand red here. There is a gap between the bottom of the bunch and the
20.
The pink. But there's also another red that goes.
21.
That's a good shot. There's not much room between the two reds there. And all of a sudden, the magic seems to have come back. He's played 3 delightful shots in a row here.
28.
And the frame looks totally different now. Ball's in open play. Black
29.
free. But not so good that time.
30.
Didn't really move many reds here, somehow.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 36.
It's been the pattern, really. O'Sullivan getting in, looking good, and then something goes wrong. He's still only made one sizable break in this match. The 88 in the very first frame is next best, just 47. And yet, he's 4-3 up. And that'll be the frustration for Hawkins. Quite a discrepancy there between today and that terrific standard that we saw between himself and Ding in the first round. There hasn't been all that much safety in this match, but what there has been, as you can see, has certainly been edged by O'Sullivan, and a bit more than edged, actually. Hawkins, uncharacteristically, has made quite a few tactical mistakes. It's normally a real strong suit of his.
These are never easy, especially if they're straight. I think he has a very slight angle. Well, this time he hasn't, I don't think, left a red on, but when he first hit it, it appeared it was going to be leaving the red above the black available for O'Sullivan. Not so. Well, this is a big shot to take on, this red up into the green pocket. It's almost like he played it as a shot to nothing, but there are reds that go to the right corner above the black here. It's also possibly a red to right middle. Now then, Barry. He's had a bad half an hour or so. But he's still got a chance. It's not happening for him. He's just absolutely given O'Sullivan another gilt-edged opportunity that he hasn't really earned. I've seen him play so much better than that this season.
Maybe feeling the psychological damage of frame 6 and 7, both of which he'll feel he should have won. Hard to shake that feeling that you've missed your chance. And clearly they don't come along all that often for Barry against this guy.
Just finished it rather nicely on pink or blue here. Where's the pink going to go? It doesn't go on any spot. There's nothing available.
Just let me check the line, Ronnie, please.
No, in behind his own.
Thank you. It's fine. Thanks. 7. 8. $50. 60. 23. 24.
So here he is, on the
31.
brink of being 2 up with 3 to play. Just
32.
tuning in, you haven't seen it all. It's been a strange old match, really. Chances have been raining in on both players. Sullivan has just been more able to keep himself together, but he has not played
39.
well, I have to say that. I'm sure, should he win, he'll be saying the same.
40.
Hawkins has had a very solid season indeed, won the European Masters, and it would have been a surprise at the outset
45.
for O'Sullivan to be leading 2 up with 3 to play
46.
with a pot success of only 85%, but it has been that sort of match. Both players have seen hatfuls of chances come and go. Hawkins
52.
feeling the pain of missed opportunities in the previous 2 frames, I'm sure. And now he's got to
53.
do it the hard way and win 3 in a row. A tall order indeed against the game's greatest ever front runner.
$60. Foul. Barry Hawkins 4.
Another quick-fire frame, less than 10.5 minutes. It's gone the way of Ronnie O'Sullivan, who has now won 3 on the bounce and is 1 away at 5, with 3 frames in a row to stand on the brink of the semi-finals of the Masters once again. And if he gets there, he'll have every reason to believe he'll be playing for another title on Sunday. He's only ever lost 1 semi-final in this tournament. That was to Neil Robertson. For Barry
Thank
Hawkins,
you.
twice a runner-up at the
Take seats,
Masters.
please.
A case of what might have been so far this afternoon. Is there still a twist in the
The
tail?
ninth frame.
O'Sullivan 1
Ronnie
away
O'Sullivan
at
to break.
5-3.
It's always difficult, isn't it, to work out how things change at snooker. You know, he had a good win the other night against a player he didn't have the brilliant record against either in Neil Robertson. Man at the table, Barry Hawkins I'm speaking about. But, you know, today he just hasn't played very well at all. And maybe it's just the intimidation of O'Sullivan, the crowd, all of these things have got to him. He's not beaten yet, like I say, but he's in, to say a spot with bother doesn't quite cover it.
I think he'll look back on the 6th frame in particular. That was one that he had clear chances to win, multiple chances for a 4-2 lead, and then O'Sullivan's under a lot of pressure, but couldn't quite convert them. O'Sullivan was able to get level, and now he's pulled away to this 2-frame cushion. First time we've had that this afternoon.
I think the shock to me is what an open game it's been. I mean, safety has not really played any huge part in this match. It's been all about chances being handed to each other. Two of the real top players in the game. It's been some good snooker, but some you know, not always quite so good. Dramatic afternoon, if nothing else. This cue ball looks pretty good. An extra ball run and it would have been massive trouble for Hawkins. Once again though, he's pushing balls close to pockets. Another chance.
One of the easier long pots that O'Sullivan's been faced with this afternoon. He's knocked in some cracking distance reds. This one proves elusive.
So here's a plant with the chance to knock the red away from the black all in one. That'll do.
One thing you know is he'll continue to give it everything. He's a terrific competitor, great match player.
Eight.
His highest break, 74 to level at 2-all.
9.
O'Sullivan has made just 2 half-centuries, including the 60 in the previous frame. Modest in the extreme by
60.
These two players. Stellar standards when it comes to break building. But it's been a fascinating tussle. You can't take your eyes off the action for a moment. Every frame has been an event.
Seventeen.
Well, unless he's on a red to the middle, it would be end of break. He's looking quite hopefully towards that right middle.
24.
Here's the shot again. It looks as if nothing's going to be available, but then the red might go through the gap. Yeah, I think it will go. It's a bonus, if so. It's not dissimilar to a gap in the reds and the pink that Judd Trump had in that deciding frame against Kyron. It didn't look there.
$32.
All he can do here, because he's so straight on the red, is I think leave the cue ball where the red is and play the black across the table.
Cheers, Barry. Thank you. 33.
It's a nice shot. Has he got enough on the cue ball to get behind a red?
40.
He's getting plenty of encouragement from this packed crowd here at Alexandra Palace.
Yes, I mean, in frame 4, he made a nice break of 74 to get the frame 1 to go at 2-2. But
44.
apart from that, he's looked for quite some time. It's only a 44 break. There's maybe a few more to come, but in between that, he's been a little ragged, so he'll take the encouragement.
45.
Certainly reds to middle. I think a choice of left or right middle.
Bit of pressure on this one. Frame obviously not won yet. And he's caught the jaw. He can't believe it.
50.
Knocks his head on the table.
Well, he's going to have to play a red close to the pink spot here, which is tough, but if it goes in, it leaves everything on.
1.
Quite on the black, as he'd like, but this was a shot. It was in when he hit it, but it turned left a bit. The nap of the cloth is one of the reasons for that. Now, it looked like 5-4, didn't it, with Hawkins in. Now, all of a sudden, you wouldn't even make him favoured in the frame, Hawkins.
9.
All these reds in open play. Just that one up on the left, which will come into the equation a bit further down the line.
$14. 15.
This match has been played at a furious pace. Average frame time a shade over 13 minutes. When you consider that it's not been a match of high breaks, it's not
20.
in any way interrupted the pace of play.
21.
Hawkins undoubtedly will be pinning his hopes on that awkward red north of the blue spot.
$26. 27.
That'll do him. Little flick on the red. It was not a bad shot anyway. And as I said earlier, I think Ronnie will now be eyeing up that red up the table. How is he going to bring that into play? Where's it going to happen? Probably from a shot on the yellow, perhaps, to go directly into it. Or maybe here.
40.
There's always some suggestion you wouldn't cannon a red out on a red, because it's complete nonsense to say that. He tried to.
41.
Oh, that flick could be a dream. Now that he's got the shot on the yellow, that he didn't know anything about this.
$43.
Didn't work out very well. Ah, what a magnificent shot that is. That's the best of the lot today on a indifferent afternoon. That was brilliant.
Could be a match winner. A moment of inspiration from Ronnie O'Sullivan, and at times that's been lacking this afternoon. But what a shot that was. A match at his mercy.
52.
Well, he's finishing these so well. That last red was magnificent cueing.
Hawkins can't
55.
watch, and no wonder he'll have cause for some regrets at the end of this match if O'Sullivan does the business here. He's had chances. Could have been 4-2 up. Could have been 4-3 up after losing that sixth frame. But it's looking like 4 on the bounce for O'Sullivan. And there is the killer ball. What a contest it's been. Not perhaps the match we expected, full of high breaks, but no little drama. Ronnie O'Sullivan survives the roller coaster to book his place in a 15th Masters semi-final. Both players missed balls they'd normally get, but O'Sullivan got the most important one. That inspirational red at the end to clear up for a 6-3 win. Play either Jack Lazowski or Sean Murphy for a place in the final.
Ronnie, what a clearance at the end there to move into your 15th Masters semi-final.
I just feel sorry for Barry. I mean, he was playing good until he started playing me, and I just dragged him down to probably the most awful standard of snooker. So I'm really sorry about that today, but I'm just lucky to get through, really. That's all I can say.
Well, luck may have played a part, you say, but there were some wonderful balls there. That last red was sublime, wasn't it, ladies and gents?
Yeah, I mean, I knew, like, when I got that chance, I just had to if I had a shot, I was just going to go for it, you know, because you might not get another chance. So I know it was a tough red, but sometimes you've got to take the tough ones on, you know.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, we will see you on Saturday in the semi-finals.
It wasn't vintage rocket, but he has got to his first semi-final at the Masters in 4 years now. We can see the passion of the fans there. Well, there's going to be balls getting potted off lampshades very shortly, because this evening it's jackpot Jack Lazowski and the magician, Sean Murphy.